What up, squad? D20 here, and today I had an idea for a slightly unusual type of video. I recently got my 100th win with Gibraltar. Very psyched about that. Chopped it into a little video like I usually do when I have an interesting victory. Give it a rewatch to be sure everything, processed correctly in editing and uploaded correctly. And I realized I kind of was thinking to myself, I was like narrating the match as I went, and I'm like, oh wow, it's really good I did this because 5 seconds later this happens, and so on and so forth. So I figured today we'd just take a little look through back over my 100th Gibraltar win. This is gold lobby, so nothing super sweaty, but a couple of little things that I would like to point out that at this point in my 1,000 hours plus, not that I'm a good player, but I do have a lot of experience, a couple little things that I wanted to point out that could maybe help you up your game a little bit. So, with all that being said, thanks for watching. Let's jump on in. Alright. So, I got my buddy 5-star here, and a rando, that's the Zilrate, the Pathfinder. We usually like to drop the blue ship here. It's usually not too busy. Nice linear fights, generally speaking, and you can rotate to Fight Night for some extra knocks early on, which is always a good thing. So you can see right here, we have opponents landed in the back. I opened this door, realized that's not a great opportunity. Teammates still gathering loot, so I figured we'll do the loot denial thing. We'll loot the rest of the ship while they're stuck in just the back. Hopefully come out ahead loot-wise. Wingman light weapon is never something to frown about, so I'm starting to feel pretty confident here loot-wise. Alright, so we know we got one more section of the ship. People should be making their way up. There it is. I'm trying to take as much space as possible to push them back a little bit while still maintaining cover. This was just lucky. No idea where that guy was from, why he had so much damage, but hey, kill's a kill, am I right, fam? Alright, so now we got a nice easy 3v2, so I'm just trying to score damage, get that easy knock, and use our numbers. We don't have to rush into a bad situation. Couple pretty lucky windman hits there, and boom, squad wipe. There we go. So, not a whole lot to learn from there. Again, the knowing kind of where we landed, knowing the terrain, where they landed versus where we landed, allowed us to get a little bit more loot, kind of deny them the loot, so if they wanted to push, they'd be under geared. Otherwise, they would have had to, rotate elsewhere to get more armaments early on. So here we are in fight night. Usually you can, after you finish up in the blue ship, you can hear a couple fights going on here. We usually go up top like we did here or sneak around the side. In this case, the fight was in the back, coming from, I believe that's docks. I know they're in the corner, so I try to throw a couple nades, but I was kind of wrong about what corner they were in. This is right here, the other team split up, so they're just fucked. 2 barrels on one guy who wins every time. You see a lot this game, especially as Jibby. When we get the knock, I like to dome on the knocked person to secure that knock right away. Means we're definitely dealing with a 2v3, and we have a shield swap if needed. So now we know we're just chasing two people. Much low stress. Pretty hard to lose a 2v3, though it's not impossible. So yeah, we're pushing pretty hard now. This is why I love Pathfinder. Like, there's a lot of good mobility legends, and yeah, zip lines do make you vulnerable. But they are one of the fastest, most efficient ways to push if the other team isn't staring straight at you. So this is going to be a bit of a misplay. Through my airstrike prematurely. They were wide open. They had place to rotate to. So all that was really good was for zoning them, pushing them forward again. C- on that airstrike there. But, nobody's perfect, right? So again, we're still pushing the same squad of 2. I think they're going to sneak a respawn real fast in a minute. I don't quite remember. Yep. So they just keep running. We keep running after them. Because, we thirsty. Gotta get them points. Back through fight night. We heard shots, up the road there. So, we're maintaining the high ground. We're not pushing too hard. Well, now we are. Teammate got the scent, so now, this is hilarious. This ex-Zilrate guy, super thirsty. I love it. I respect it. unable to knock him off the thing, so he just throws a zip into the circle to catch the balloon to continue following them, because, you know, when you're thirsty here in the Outlands, the Apex Outlands. You know, is this the best way to play? It can definitely be the most fun. In this situation, we're fairly confident we're chasing a squad of only 2 people, and even if they've respawned, it can't be, you know, that much of a respawn. Like, it can't have gotten that much loot yet. So the slippery little Pathfinder gets away again. You know, that verticality, this game, the more I play it, it's all about verticality. Just always go for the high ground. It will always help you. So I ate a bad arc star there. Go immediately to the... It's another thing, I watched a great video about, like, how much seconds really matter in this game. So just starting to execute your reload or your bat or whatever it may be as soon as possible. I was kind of saying this earlier, like, sometimes it's better to commit to a bad line of play quickly and efficiently than it is to commit to the right play, air quotes, but doing it slowly. So, like, a risky push can be worth it if you can get to them before they, like, say you cracked one, 3v3, you crack one, you push. If you're able to, you know, get there before they have that 6 seconds to get their bat off, then you're actually in combat with advantage, you know, 3 full shields versus 2 full shields and a cracked. But if you, say, push over open area after a crack and they have the 6 to 7 seconds to get a bat and reload, well, now you're pushing, you don't have cover, and you're facing 3 barrels and 3 shields. So, you know, you went from the advantage to the disadvantage because, you know, you haven't committed to the line of play fast enough to, say, get in there before the shield. So, something to think about really in every aspect. There's going to be a great example of that later in this match, I'm excited to point out. But yeah, so we finally killed that squad, that slippery Pathfinder, finally met his match. And now I believe we're going to go into Meat Grinder, or Turbine Meat Grinder as I like to call it. And this should be an interesting sequence too. Like, the geography of Meat Grinder, Turbine, is very interesting. A lot of squads enter it, but, like, it's a circle. So, like, the way you have to rotate and the way you run into squads, it's pretty high stakes, as hopefully we'll see here in a minute. Some epic wingman shots from yours truly. Finally hit 1 out of 12, ain't bad, I guess. Not good either. And I'm a very conservative player. I like to use cells when I can instead of bats. So here I see another squad pushing in from behind. We also got a squad up front, so we have to make this tricky rotate to the left through my airstrike to hopefully slow down that back squad a little bit. Debated on the shield swap there because I only had 350 left, but for me at this point, I guess in the heat of the moment, I decided I'd rather have saved the bat and the time to 6 seconds and pick up the new shields. You know, that's a case-by-case basis, but worked out okay here. So here I empty all my nades to allow my teammates to continue to rotate. Probably should have been shouting that at the time, but I did not. Luckily, 5-star man, he knows what's good, and the Pathfinder's Pathfinder, so he was able to zip over here. And yeah, we've successfully, instead of being in the middle of 2 squads, we now rotated, so we're on the side of 2 squads instead of getting pinched. That sort of situational awareness, knowing the map, and catching the third party or the, you know, getting circled early is just so clutch. It allows you to get out of a very unfavorable situation and turn it into something very favorable. If we were feeling particularly sweaty, we could have listened, cornered up for a second after we rotated, listened for when those 2 squads started fighting, wait for 2 knocks in the feed, 2 or 3 knocks in the feed, and then go third party. Weren't quite feeling it here, so instead we go on to Death Valley, where you know you're always going to find a couple people. Nice knock there. All right, so now we start pushing. I used the dome. It's kind of a questionable dome, but we had to push through open territory there. So I figured throw up the dome to allow, if they do catch a big clip, they can pop in the dome and, you know, bat before we continue the push. I realized I may have blocked some of their shots with my dome there, which is not ideal, but, you know, I'd rather keep my team alive, err on the side of keeping my team alive, and waste a couple bullets than not. But, you know, there's a lot of different ways to use the dome, and pushing is definitely one of those. switch the Digi for an HCOG. Yeah, I know, it's weird, but with the Wingman, it's just so precise that having that nice little HCOG is very satisfying, despite the advantages that the Digi gives you. Alright, so we cleaned up a couple squad here. We know there's a couple more squads poking around. So I'm encouraging us to take high ground here. Up here is another pretty high traffic area. There's still 3, the 2 ramps, well 4 ramps really if you count the water ramps, plus the zip line that you can get pushed. But it's not a bad place. Alright, so we've made it to the top 3. I got a Spitfire, which, a little rusty with, but it's all good. Great gun. So here we are, top 3. We know where one squad is. Teammate pops a drone. I see we got one down. So it's a 3v3, and I see we got one down, and they're not super engaged with me. Thirsting that guy right there is going to be a huge play when you see how the rest of this fight. So now we know it's a squad of 3 and a squad of 2. So that's, like, super useful. All right, airstrike not getting too much here, but, boom. So now we've got another knock. Don't know if this is the same team or not, but I throw the dome, go for the secure, but I see 2 guys up there. So I wait, like I need to kill this lifeline. I know she's got a gold shield. I want to keep this a 3v3. So 2 thermites is all it takes. And then right here, boom, almost completely dead. Immediately start the bat. So 2 seconds, 1 second, Valkyrie ults incoming. Boom, hold on, we're going to pause it there. Because of the timing, because I got around that rock and started pressing the bat button before I was even fully in cover. That gave me that literally under a second to finish the bat before the Valkyrie ult hit me. Had that Valk been a half second earlier, or me been a half second slower on the bat, I'm knocked right here. That completely changes the dynamic of the battle, because as you'll notice, it's me behind this rock versus the 2 remaining people in the one squad, and my 2 teammates off to the left here fighting the other squad. So I would have been downed, allowing the other squad to push me with assumably 2 people, take my position. Now my squad's pinched. So that single second there, where I was able to get off the bat early before the Valk Q came down, changed the dynamic of this last battle, as we'll see moving forward. So after I got hit, now I'm low health, I switched to the Phoenix kit, because I know they're probably not going to push me, but a bat might have been a smarter move. I had 2 Phoenix kits, you know how it is. Alright, so yep, we still got 2 up there, so we know the lifeline was 1, and then the other guy I thirsted was from the other squad, so we know now we have can assume it's 2 squads of 2. If you're really keeping track of the combat and like what's happening in-game, you'll know that, but I'm not sure if I knew that at the time, or if this is just something I realized upon rewatching this video. Alright, so now I'm indicating that I want to rotate there because I know it's going to be the best circle, or the best position for circle, but we catch a fight with these guys, so, always help your team. Again, getting as high as possible, but didn't really need to. There's my reds. Alright, now some pathetic shots here. So the other squad is smart. They heard us engage. They know they're probably at a numerical disadvantage, so they immediately go for circle. And knowing that assuming that we really don't have too much mobility, we can't just Valk back into circle. So they're holding where we need to go. So while we have a numbers advantage, they kind of have a positional advantage. Can't say I'd want to be them. Alright, I have a bad habit. Once I see it burn, I just fucking push, even though at best you're burning him for 50 damage, which really isn't that much. Huge misplay there. Embarrassing, really. Somehow the Valk gets away. But we thirst the other guy, so we know it's a 1v1. This game's pretty much over. Didn't realize Pathy had a gold backpack, which I will find out in a minute. So that's smart on the Valk. She probably heard, she's in a 1v3. What's she going to do? So, you hear the res, try to get the knock. I get it, but it's a hard push. It's going to go for a bat, but I realize it's a 1v3, so we go in there. And, of course, we get a nice smush for the win, baby. And I like this shot here because you get all 3 characters, the Crypto, the Pathfinder, and the Jibby, all in one frame for a couple seconds. Pretty good stuff. So, yeah, there you go. That's the ebb and flow of a decent game. Hope I was able to be a little insightful about some of the decisions I made and how they might help you make decisions in-game in the future. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment if you think there's something I missed. What sort of content would you like to see me try to produce in the future? Do you like walkthroughs? Do you like gameplay? Should I look into some new games and give you my 2 cents? Let me know in the comments down below, and as always, thank you for watching.